Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your time to join us today for 4 PMS and Google to bring you this digital webinar. So in today's session, we're going to share with you some tips or some guidance in terms of how to supercharge your holiday performance with the Google Shopping ads. In today's speaker list, we have 3 persons in the list. So the 3 persons that included myself, Jackie, and Sumit. Sorry for some technical hints here. Perhaps that Jackie will put the screen on the full screen and then we can start. Yes. So today I have myself, Edison Wu. I'm the head of paid media for PMS, looking after for the APAC and Russia region. So together with me, I have Jackie in today's presentation as well. He is based in Singapore and he's a regional digital director for APAC and Russia. And also we have our guest of honor, Sumit. Sumit will be sitting in Australia. So Sumit will be, he is the lead for the Omnichannel Shopping, and he will be able to share with you a lot of insight in terms of how you can ensure that you have the Omnichannel strategy to bring all the performance optimization for your shopping ads. So to start today's call, we have a mixture of our existing client and also our new friends that are joining us today. So on the next screen, perhaps Jackie maybe can help me. So today, since this is the COVID-19, everyone's so used to about the webinar. So in today's Zoom call, throughout the whole session, if you have any questions, and your bottom left, there's a button called questions. So click on it and submit your question there. So we have the people who collect all your questions, then we come back to you to answer all your questions at the end of the session. In the next slide, so I want to share with you in terms of who we are. So because we have some new friends here, so I will take some moment to talk about the mission for PMS to help all the different clients in APAC how to supercharge the digitization, especially when it comes to Google Shopping ad. In our structure, basically, we always want to help clients to understand how they can find the different kind of change to feel how they can contribute to business growth. So in the next slide, so this is how we want to navigate the journey together with you. So in the next slide, we're going to tell you in terms of the structure that how we help you. So basically, we have the consultancy team here, which is in charge for all your data structure, all your campaign infrastructure, and also your website data collection. These are the moment that how we can find the change. With all the infrastructure, basically, we feel the groove in terms of how we can activate to bring the innovation, media deliveries, or also optimization to complete, to deliver to your business growth. Of course, we are very stressed on the data. So our proprietary tool here sitting right between the consultancy and activation team, because that is something that we're able to pull all the string together to give you all the different data based on the demand that we have in the consumer trend. So in the next slide, so here I want to show you something. So in the GWI, the Global Web Index, the latest data that has told us, APAC actually is one of the highest regions in the world that have 45% of the respondents that already voiced out the urge they want to shop online. So if you look at all other continents, mostly are hovering between 25 to 27%, whereby APAC actually we have half of the people actually that say, I want to buy online. I want to buy more things to be delivered to my home. So if we want to deep dive further in the next slide, for the people in APAC, so 8 out of 10 people actually that have performed the online research in the last month, and out of 10 of them actually have purchased online, purchased at least a product online. So if you zoom down in the Southeast Asia, the numbers are even more impressive. Almost 9 of the 10 person have run the online research, and 80% of them actually have purchased an online product. So in the next slide, we're going to tell you, during COVID-19, a lot of people, they still buy online, but actually they held back the decision as in like, I don't want to buy so many things, I only buy the necessities. But based on the coronavirus, COVID-19 research conducted by GWI in April 2020, we realized that actually people actually have already delayed all their buying for the unnecessary item, namely 32% for the clothing, 25% for the luxury item, 24% for the personal electronic and smartphone, and so on and so forth. And actually, we do know that actually they are waiting the moment for them to shop in the next season. So in the next slide, we also have some number to show you. In terms of 40% of the global shopper, or even like the Gen Z, the most important segment that we contribute most of the sales these days, mentioned that we delay a huge purchase until a promotion or sales period. They make a lot of opportunity for us in the coming season, because this is the moment where we need to make a comeback. So in the next slide, so this is the slide where I want to tell you this is our comeback moment. So from the month spanning from September all the way to December, actually we have a lot of different online festive season have been created globally or even locally or regionally in APAC. So not to mention the most important and significant will be the single days on November 11, which is everywhere in the APAC actually are really go crazy in terms of the sales. So even like Double 12 in December 12, even like the Christmas and Boxing Day. But we're also seeing a trend that in APAC, there are more and more advertisers actually are running a trend like the Thanksgiving, the Cyber Monday, even like the Black Friday kind of promotion, online promotion that we can deliver in the APAC. So to do all these things, in the next slide, we want to tell you, in order to win this, we have two things we need to know. First thing, as in like, do you know how to read the signal, and do you understand where are the trends? By reading the signal in the sense that we know consumer, where people start to search, make the shift in terms of what to buy, and in terms of what is really matters to them. So in today's session, we're going to tell you how to read the signal and how to read the trends. So in order to read the signals, there are three things that you need to be mindful. First of all, is a seasonal queries. So we need to start as in like, what are the things that people are talking about? So to do this, usually we advise our client we should have a list of keywords that will be monitored throughout the whole year. They should get your business partner or your agency to do the money monitoring for you. So based on the money monitoring, you'll be able to know where the moment people start to search about all these things. So when people start to search, it means that people start to talk about it. So the social conversation becomes super important. And also, we also need to understand what are the leads. So why I say the search query is very important, because in the next slide, we're going to tell you, throughout all the key markets in APAC, you can see that up to 60% or even more in Australia, people are always using search engine to start to look for the product research. Then we come to the review, marketplace, and brand side. So a lot of clients be asking us as in like, I need to do my search campaign, I need to do my brand SEO. In fact, that actually these are the things that combination that work as an omni-channel with each other. People search and we start to talk about it on the review, and people start to compare the prices on the marketplace, and then people only land on your website to do your research. So this is the kind of a sequence that where people start to do the research. And then next slide, we also want to tell you more in terms of the search signal, how to help you to identify your golden moments. So this is some of the example we have find out for Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore market, especially for Double 11. We found out that Double 11 spike only happened within that 7 days in Hong Kong and Taiwan, where people start to do a lot of research in terms of where I can get a good bargain and discount. Remember Black Friday, we see a high demand for Australia and even in Singapore. And then the BR actually, they have a sharp up during the 7 days before the Black Friday. Whereas in Hong Kong, we see actually the BR period is much longer. Maybe the Black Friday is not that popular as comparing the Australia and Singapore market. And another tip I want to share with you is like, what are the key discount and also discount terms that people are looking for. So from there, you can write on those moments when people are actively looking for discount code, then you can start to push your message to them. And for the Facebook, actually, they always share all the conversation data to us. So these are the slides that I extracted during the Facebook festive seasons. So here I want to share with you as in like, where are the period when people start to talk about all these seasons. So specifically for Hong Kong markets, people start to talk about Black Friday 4 days before the event. For single day, people start to talk about 5 days before the event. Even for Double 12 will be 3 days. For Cyber Monday will be 7 days. So talk to your partner, talk to your agency, to understand your market as and where people start to talk about it. So, and when we need to deep down on this conversation data, you need to understand that who are the person, what are the category, then we give you more insight when you drill in into your conversation data. In your next slide, I actually want to share with you more in terms of what are the expectations from the brands that from the brand that the consumers are looking for. So here, this is the key message that, as in like to hook your attention from your consumer. People are looking for free delivery, discount, review, and online checkout process. Here you can see a quite common and consistent free delivery discount actually are important throughout all key market in the Asia. But one thing I want to highlight would be the customer review. If you look at customer review for Malaysia and Singapore, the percentage are relatively higher than other markets. In fact, that these are the two markets people are really actively on social, actively talk about it. So these are the markets that actually you need to pay more attention in terms of who are the right people to do the review for you. Whereby in Hong Kong, one thing we found as like online checkout process, we have a lot of different kind of like online payments. So in terms of, and also because of the Alipay, WeChat Pay, and also any other online payment, they're making a lot of different kind of promotion. In fact, that those checkout process also translate what kind of promotion we can entitle to the consumer when you have different kind of options with them. So then in the next slide, by understanding all these signal in mind, so today I want to share with you there are 5 things we can guide you to start your shopping campaign. And which are these 5 things? The first thing you need to understand would be, in the next slide, the first thing would be you need to make sure that your product will be visible. So how to manage your product feed is become very, very important. Secondly, you need to understand that how to make sure your plan is actionable. We are not saying that make your brand visible, make people see your ad. We want people to click on your ads. Thirdly, would be you need to make sure that your campaign is automated, because people only talk about the festive season, the festive period, 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days. So we do have with our eyeball, we cannot look at every single item things within the 3 days. So the automation plays super important moment to make sure that you can deliver the result for your brand. The fourth thing would be to have the automation. It means that we need to have an intelligent system. What kind of dashboard to monitor the price, to monitor how should we need to activate our campaign or change our messaging. The fifth one I want to share with you will be your website UX. You have wonderful product on your website. If your loading speed is slow, basically it's kind of like adding on another burden to delay all your conversion numbers. So these are the 5 things we're going to share with you. So I'm going to pass the session to Jackie. Jackie will explain to you one by one in detail how to supercharge your holiday campaign performance. Over to you, Jackie.
Right. Thanks a lot, Edison. So moving forward, we will be sharing some of the winning tips during how do you win the market during the holiday season. So before we go into the tips, right? So actually today focus is more on the Google Shopping ad, and then we want to share with you why Google Shopping is very important to drive. So in the section that Edison just shared, you can see that 9 out of 10 people do online research before purchasing, and also more than 50% of the people, the figures varies between different countries, use search engine that's one of the top used channel for product research. So as a placement Google Shopping ad, that is very important placement to reach out to your customer and to influence them when they're doing their product research. And from our experience, it is proven to be one of the best performing channel to drive the e-commerce sales. So the first thing that I'm going to share is about the product feed management. In case you haven't run any Google Shopping ad before, it's actually 5 basic steps that we can launch a successful shopping campaign. So first, of course, you just need to create an account, a GMC account. And you need to get your product feed ready to upload to the platform. And of course, you need to do some audit, optimization, troubleshooting of your feed itself. And then next, when we are setting up the campaign, we need to identify the business goal and to see what are the objectives that we achieve. And finally, we can just make sure the shopping go live. So it seems to be very simple, but a lot of advertisers are actually find it struggling to create a product feed, and they didn't use the product feed in the best way. So in case you don't know what is a product feed, basically it is just a structured pieces of data that contains the product information. So it could be it include the metrics like the basic product data about for example, your product title or description. It should also include your price as well, no matter it's the usual price or discounted price, your product category, your product identifiers, and some of the detailed product attributes like the color, gender, and size. So here are some of the attribute are mandatory, some of them optional. But if you can use this like in a good way, then actually it can also affect your performance quite a lot. So when we work with different advertisers, right? So we find that one of the biggest and the most common challenge is that the product feed is not managed by the marketing team. So ensure like the audience today here, most of you should be working in the marketing department or like the digital department or like the performance team. So when we deal with the client, most of the time we say, oh, the feed could be managed by the IT department or some other agents or some feed management agency. And somehow when they build a product feed, right? Somehow when they build a product feed, they actually know that like the product feed is not built for the purpose of doing the advertising. So mostly it could be for their product inventory management, or like can be used as like some of the product feed that they use internally, but it's not. So the implication to the shopping ad is that the information displayed to your potential customer is not that customer friendly. So if the feed, what we call is actually the raw feed, you need to make it customer friendly before we run your Google Shopping campaign. So a lot of advertisers will just put the raw feed directly into the GMC without any modification. But what you can do more is that you should export the raw feed to any third-party platform. So for us, we are having a product called Forge that can help you to do the feed customization. So what you can adjust the feed is that you can do your product title testing, you can do the color normalization, you can do the product description optimization, category enhancement, or even adding some of the custom label to do the bidding optimization as well. So here's actually one of the examples that we have done to make the product much more appealing. So on the left-hand side, before we do any feed optimization, you may just show the brand name and also the product, the product and some of the product name, and also the where this is a male shoes. But actually, you can do it like adding the color or size on the product as well. So that's where the user will find it much more appealing. So this is one of the use cases, and I'm going to share another example with you, which can actually empower your shopping campaign performance. So here is actually one of the case study about feed optimization, removing some of the broken size items. So as you may be aware, right? So if you are selling the product that actually got different sizes, so a lot of time, right? Your product size, your best, the most common sizes may be sold out like at a like very early, but then like it would be just left out some common sizes like US 7 or US 11. But then your shopping ad may still keep on running. So people click on the shopping ad, go to your website or marketplace, and they cannot find the product sizes, and they may just drop out. So it will be resulting in wasted clicks and also your media costs as well. So what we have done for the client is that we utilize our own platform to eliminate the product with any broken sizes from the feed itself. So for example, with the product we just got US 7 and we don't have the rest of the sizes, we just don't advertise that product. So when we also like try to reintroduce the product when the full size range is available. So we can see that actually, just an example here, on average, right, if we are managing a 44K product feed, on average, we have actually removed like 5,000 products from the product feed itself. So from the result here, we saw that we reduced the wasted cost like by 11%. And for the whole campaign, we improved the revenue by 16%. So it's just a minor twist about removing the broken size item can actually already impact your performance in a very large scale. So of course, that is one of the example, and you should also like customize your feed to based on like your market, based on your industry, and based on your own business need. So second is actually about how we should prepare for the actionable plan for your shopping season. So there are three things that we think will affect our activation. So first is about when shall we activate. Second is about like what to activate as well, how we should change our campaign setting, and finally is about how we should activate on the mega sales day. So first of all, it's about when to activate. So as Edison also shares some of the insights, so like actually for in different market, people behave differently. So and also the user trend varies across different industries as well. So some of them have a very short burst, and some of them could be having a longer momentum to build up the search demand. So that is something that we need to learn from the Google trend and also from your own business intelligence as well. So after that, right, we also need to make it clear that like how we should set up your Google Shopping campaign. So whether and also how it can tie back to your business objective. So whether you want to drive the traffic, you want to have the scale, you want to maximize the efficiency, or you just want to maximize your sales in from Google Shopping. So that is something that we need to be aware of. And of course, after knowing like how your customer buy, you also need to turn this insight into activation. It means that you need to use bidding strategy and messaging during different phases. So for example, like if you have, that is one of the example we have. So that is one of the example we have is about like the client actually have like, so that we have different phases about how the user purchase their product. So that could be like maybe two research stages, and also on the seasonal sales day, there could be a different search demand. And even after the seasonal sales days, there is actually a post-seasonal sales as well. So we need to clearly identify what is the goal and also what is the key messaging that we shall be using, and it should be different and customized as well. Let's say, for example, on the seasonal sales day, what we usually do is like we need to maximize the sales, and also with a combination of a menu approach. And for example, in the post-seasonal sales, maybe we just need to restore like back to the previous setting, and also having some messages such as like all items go. So that is something that you need to plan ahead before you go into the seasonal shopping season. And then if we are talking about the actual mega sales day itself, if you foresee that there are lots of dynamic changes happening, will be happening on the same day, we recommend that we should set up a raw room. It may not be a physical raw room, but like at least we need to gather like all the relevant agency or internal team to sit down together to react quickly, so that we can have some real-time insight on the screen all the time and agree on some of the action without losing any time. So of course, you can combine with some of the social media monitoring tool to monitor what are the people talking about your product, about what are the best promotion items that people should buy. Then you should be like able to take those kind of information and data to react very quickly. So let's say, for example, if you saw that like, oh, like some of the product are running out already, so whether we should be restocking it, or like whether we should be stopping that campaign, or whether we should be removing that item from the feed itself, so that there will be no wastages. So that is something that we need to be bear in mind when we are like running the shopping campaign on the seasonal day. So third is actually about the automation. So why automation is important, right? So I will talk about it later. But before that, here is some research on Facebook talking about the mega sales day conversion. So a lot of time when that is like entering like mega sales day, like Double 11, we can see that actually the peaks usually in the afternoon or the evening, and the demand can be very high during that day and much higher than the usual normal period that like you're selling your product. So if you didn't set up if you didn't know about the campaign pacing correctly, you will be easily run out your budget, and also like you will miss out on lots of opportunity. So what you should do first is actually maybe you need to have a close monitoring of your campaign budget at scale, and you need to optimize accordingly. So here's one of the examples that we usually do is that we will have a budget depletion dashboard to summarize the campaign, the channel, and the product as well. What are the assigned budget and how much they have been spending like by different hours. So if we saw that, oh, the campaign or this product is already spending 70%, we know the momentum is very good, achieving good ROI, we should be able to shuffle the budget across different campaign or different products so that we are capturing all the opportunity we are having on the mega sales day. And of course, if we can try to set the alert and also the script and rules as well to automate as much as possible, because on that day, you will be foreseeing like that we need to have lots of changes immediately. So you should also set up like the strategy and automation on different ad tech platforms as well, no matter it's on Google Ad, or like you also use SA360, or you should build any like Google script to try to achieve that goal. And of course, you also need to have some alert to ensure your hygiene, and also to send you the notification as quick as possible so that you can make any changes. So here are some of the script that we have been using, and we want to share with you why that is very important. So first is about a script to detect campaign with zero spend. It sounds to be easy, but a lot of time, if you are managing the campaign, you will see that like you just had lots of time, some campaigns just didn't run. It could be because of the wrong end day, or like the budget or the assigned budget is not enough, or the fees having issue. So you must have a script to protect your account hygiene so that you know that some campaigns should be spending and it shouldn't be zero, so that you can get an alert to fix it immediately. Another script that we always use is actually about making sure the feed is changed, because as we mentioned, if the feed is not owned by your team and you have no control about it, so sometimes they may just change it without notifying you guys. And if that happens on the sales day, actually you could just affect the whole campaign pacing. So that's why like you could also have some script to make sure your feed is keeping the same, so that we can make sure that the campaign can keep on running. And of course, like we can set up different alert in different bespoke way to get a different business need based on your market, based on your industry, based on product, and based on your business strategy as well. So the fourth point is actually about setting up intelligent system to empower and inform the decision. So because a lot of time we feel like we talk about how we run Google Shopping Net, so that is about like the optimization and best practices on the platform itself. But we understand that e-commerce is much more than the platform excellence. It's much more than just advertising. You should also know about like other market intelligence to change your marketing strategy as well. So just a little bit landscape here, we can see that if you go to Google and you could just key in a keyword like buy mobile phone, I'm sure you will find a lot of different brands selling their product. Could be from Google itself, could be from Samsung, could be from Sony, Xiaomi, Redmi, or iPhone, etc. And also, what is getting more complicated is that it could be like having different resellers selling the same product at the same price or different prices as well. And it's not only the competition is just it's not just only on the Google search engine result page. It's actually also on the marketplace shelf as well. So you can see that like actually there could be still a lot of different official or non-official reseller. So somehow we also understand that it's difficult to control the product listing and description. And even though you can see that different seller may be selling the product at different prices. So here are some few marketing challenges beyond advertising. So first is about like business intelligence. So how can we gather the price and product data in the marketplace? So as you can see, different people are selling different products. They may change their price every day. How can you know that like they have changed their price, by how much, and what product did they change their price? And second, right, even you know about this kind of information, how should you change your pricing strategy to make your product more competitive? Third is about, I'm sure first about reseller, or like some people call official retailer or e-retailer. It's about like the brand may not be selling their product by themselves. You may be like selling your product for a reseller. So how can you make sure that the seller reseller are pricing your product correctly with the accurate product information? And then fourth is about like after you know about all this kind of information, how you can turn this insight into media activation and to drive sales and to grow your business. So first, we recommend that you should have a dashboard or some sort of intelligence to monitor the price trend of your competitor products and your reseller activity. So you should scrap the marketplace by product in different market and every day, so that you can build a market intelligence. You can have a dashboard to know whether there's any changes in terms of the product pricing of your competitor. Maybe they are doing a promotion, maybe they are doing a price cut that you should be aware of. And second, you should also have a dashboard to analyze your marketplace visibility. So in here, we got a concept called shelf share percentage. It means how many times your product appear in the marketplace shelf. If people search for mobile phone on Shopee, for example, like how many times the Samsung appear, how many times it appear. So there could be like something that you should learn about it, like whether your product is visible enough. And also, like if you have an agreement with the marketplace about a share percentage, that is some tool that can help you to monitor the percentage, whether that is within the agreeable range or not. And lastly, you should also have a automated system to manage the partner, reseller pricing and description. So to make sure the product listing are reflecting the latest and the correct information. So if they change your pricing without your agreement, you should get alerted. And also, for example, if you update your product information, but they didn't update on the end, you should also get alert to tell them to change it as well to protect your product image. So all of these should be automated instead of like going to the platform to screenshot or to check it one by one. So how you can do this, right? So basically, you just need to identify your targeted size and product to monitor. So we need to monitor the price and listing for different targeted size. And then after you identify what to monitor, we can scrap the website, acquire and process all the data into a unified format at scale by and every day. Like we can summarize which website we have scrapped it, which market, whether that is your brand or competitor brands, what is the price and the currency, etc. And after you got consolidate all the data, you need to harmonize it, you need to process it, and then you can build various personalized dashboard to analyze for different marketing purposes. So we can use it for like the market share or share percentage we just talked about. We can also analyze the price point as well. We can also monitor whether your competitor are doing discount or promo during on the marketplace, and you can also monitor whether they have launched their new product or not. So here's also some of the use cases that we have done for some of our clients. So after we know about the data, right? So how we can set the logic and activate the custom bidding and pricing, which means turning that into immediate activation to drive your business sales. So for example, one of the examples is about like how we can use this data to sort of like have a sales push. So for example, if you saw that a price of the competitor product increased by 20%, so this should be calculated automatically, then we can sort of like label our similar product set, and then we can decide whether we should increase or decrease our bidding or even possible campaign. If we feel like, oh, if they are going to decrease their price, we won't be selling like the product anyway. We can just like pause our campaign for a while without any manual optimization to be done. So another example is actually about a dynamic pricing. So for example, we are aware that like in the complicated market landscape, there could be some of the industry or some of the people or some of the sellers are selling the same product at a different prices as well. So some could be selling the same product at a higher price, some could be lower. So what you can do is like you can actually label the same product set, and then you can also tailor our bidding based on the performance, based on the stock availability, and the relative pricing as well. And what you can do even more is like you can even change your pricing change your pricing from the traffic from the shopping campaign. So let's just give you an example. Like if you are selling a product at $100, everyone is selling the same product at $100. If you saw that one of your competitors are selling at $95, and if you know that like your product is actually very price sensitive, people will just choose the lowest cost product. So you can actually change your pricing immediately by setting the rules, saying that, oh, if your competitor price is selling $5 less than you, you should also cut your price by $5 as well if you're willing to forego the pricing, the $5 revenue. So that is something that you can do as well to monitor the pricing of your competitor, set your dynamic pricing, and also make your product much more competitive. So lastly is about the website UX optimization, which is actually very crucial for your business as well. So here's one of the report from Boston Consulting Group. Actually, it's about, you can see that 25% of all URL have at least one website issue, and 40% of them are actually critical. So, and that's actually, and also like actually is one of the very alarming news for the advertiser, because one of the most common issue is about site speed, and actually why site speed should matter to the whole business, not just the media development team, because we saw that every 0.1 second of speed improvement, users are 8.4% more likely to convert. I'm sure as a consumer, you also experience that as well. If you have like go to your website, you find it like keep on loading for 1 second or 2 seconds, whether that is about the website issue, Wi-Fi connection, etc. You will be easily got distracted. You may just turn on the mobile app, go to WhatsApp, go to Facebook. You may just forget about what you are going to do. So that is so actually site speed is one of the most important thing on your website to drive the e-commerce sales. So therefore, you actually need a very comprehensive measurement of your site speed with a quantifiable measurement of the business revenue. So you should know about like if the site speed is actually loading like 0.1 seconds slower, how much revenue you have lost. And also you need to like know about like which area that you can do to improve your site speed as well. So here are some of the other statistics. Like you can see that 53% of users bounce if the website doesn't load within 3 seconds. I think I agree on that as well, because if the website didn't load for 3 seconds, I may just like feel that the website image is gone as well. And 20% drop in conversion as a result of a 1 second delay in loading time. 1% had an excellent load speed experience, and 75% smartphone owner turned to search first to address the immediate needs. So you can see that the slow website loading speed actually doesn't just frustrate your customer, it's also affecting your business as well. It harms actually a lot of your different media performance, like the organic search visibility, CPC, and damage overall bottom line. So you need to have a plan to improve your performance metrics so that it could improve like conversion rates, average order value, user experience, page view across different channels. So increasing your site speed can actually improve all your performance in a positive way. So that is something that you should be taking care in mind. So to summarize, here's five key tips that we are sharing today. So first, you need to make sure your products need to be visible. So it's about like managing the product itself. So second, your plan need to be actionable. Plan ahead what you should do on your seasonal sales day. So third is about campaign content automation. Whether that is about your campaign setting alert, preventing any surprise to be happening, that is something you should plan ahead. And fourth, you should have an intelligent system to know about your pricing in the marketplace and your competitor pricing as well. And five is actually about your website UX need to be optimized. Make sure your loading speed is actually getting fixed and optimized as much as possible. Next, I will pass it to Sumit to talk about the omnichannel shopping approach. Sumit, pass it over to you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Edison. I hope everyone can hear me well. Hi, everyone. My name is Sumit. I am an omnichannel shopping lead based out of Google, Sydney. And happy Friday. It's almost the weekend. I'm sure everyone's joining in from APAC. And it's been a tradition for me and my wife every Friday to kind of go and get an ice cream at the end of the week. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope everyone's doing well. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the presentation. Sorry, apologies for this. I'll just quickly introduce myself while I get this sorted. So I've been with Google for almost 10 years, working across markets of America, Europe, and for the last 3.5 years, managing the retail and the shopping side of the business in Australia and New Zealand. And I have just realized I'm really bad with this technology. So Edison, Jackie, if you can help me for a second. Yeah, awesome. All right, so just wanted to get started with this quote here that I have copied from one of my friends on Facebook. My 5-year-old has somehow figured out how to open my phone, get into the Target app and search for toys. It's only a matter of time until she figures out add to cart, slightly proud, mostly terrified. And this just shows how user behavior has rapidly evolved over the last 6 months. A very proud moment for me was when my mom was able to buy her first thing online, although she's still not able to differentiate between Google Shopping ads and Amazon. So I guess I have to teach her that. But as we go on to the next slide, we can see that definitely the retail landscape is very complex. And we could see that the user behavior, because of access to so much information that we have on our phones now, it's very difficult to have a clear linear user or consumer journey that you can tap into. And if I go on to the next slide, you can see that with constrained budgets, with so much happening in the world where things are not really under our control, having a very clear marketing plan, having clear business objectives is the key. And that's what we believe at Google as well. And that's what we're trying to help our retailers with in terms of, I guess, planning one of the most unique Q4 or holiday seasons of our lifetimes. And we see that we are trying to focus all our solutions, all our innovations around these 4 sort of buckets in order to help you drive more awareness and leads, in order to help you drive more app installs, in order to help you drive sales online and sales offline. So if we move on to the next slide, you'll just see that the solutions that we kind of talk about, sorry, if you could go back to the previous slide. Yeah. So the solutions that I'll talk about in the next few minutes are essentially aligned to one of these key objectives. And these are essentially the objectives that we hear from you. These are the objectives that you want to drive over the next few months. And just kind of having clear-cut numbers around this. So for example, I want to drive 20% more sales than what I did last year, or I want to drive a volume of so many sales at a return of ad spend of this is something, a very tangible objective can really help you go places. So if we move on to the next slide, I'll just quickly talk about a few solutions that we have in relation to these 4 different marketing objectives. So the first one, as you see, around awareness and leads. So if you think of markets like India, China, some of the Southeast Asian markets where awareness lead, there's a lot happening there in terms of people getting exposed to information. And the hero product in our experience that we've really seen working in terms of awareness and leads is showcase ads. So showcase ads help you kind of curate all your shopping ads together. So for those really broad or for really generic queries like buy laptops or buy dresses, you will now be able to show an assortment of products rather than just showing individual products from your feed. If we move on to the next slide, the next feature that you see here, which can again help you generate those leads and acquire new customers, is this new beta that we've launched within Smart Shopping campaigns called New Customer Acquisition. Now, this beta helps you kind of understand what extra value you want to give to acquire new customers and set that value in your Smart Shopping campaign settings. So this way, the campaign will now go and find returning customers as it always was, but also have that higher multiplier to generate those new leads and have a new customer acquisition through your Smart Shopping campaigns. If we move on to the next slide, the next goal here we'll talk about is app installs. So for markets around Southeast Asia where app is a big thing, I live in Australia. Australia apps are big, but not that big. Definitely, I think catering to Smart Shopping and having this dynamic remarketing approach for apps is a great strategy. So here you're encouraging people to kind of buy the products that they've already seen on your app or encourage people to download your app. Obviously, we have universal app campaigns as the hero solution, but definitely dynamic remarketing for apps can play a huge role. If we move on to the next slide, you can see that we are starting to invest a lot of resources under the app side of the world because we see the requirement, we see how users are now constantly surfing around different apps. And which is why you have this option of driving users straight to your app through the shopping ads rather than taking them to your mobile website. So for example, if I'm a user of a potential consumer, if I search for something, I see your shopping ad and I already have the app installed on my phone, ideally the click on the ad should take me straight to the product page on the app where my information is already preloaded and I'm more likely to buy the product. So this is already possible. So you can obviously work with your agency and your partners to kind of deep link your product pages and bring your users straight to your apps. So we move on to the next one. We can see the next objective, which I guess is the most common objective or the most prominent objective why we are here today, is driving sales online. And what we are trying to do at Google is make Smart Shopping as the single retail campaign type going into the future. So you will see the likes of dynamic remarketing, dynamic prospecting, just kind of catering to returning users, new users, reach, performance, everything is catered under Smart Shopping. So you will see betas coming out in the future where text ads might be a part of Smart Shopping or there might be video assets within Smart Shopping. So if you haven't tested or tried out smart shopping, this is the time to do so, because this is the future and it's here to stay. If we move on to the next slide, just continuing on the theme of driving sales online. So Google Shopping doesn't necessarily have to be limited only to retailers. There is potentially a huge area to tap into with brands or manufacturers who can partner with retailers in order to run these shopping ads. So we've launched a new program called Shopping Campaigns with Partners, where a retailer and a manufacturer can link up their Google Ads accounts and run campaigns together while giving a budget together, but also giving a bid together. So essentially helping the likes of manufacturers who do not have an e-commerce website or a store, but then pushing them onto the shopping side of the world. If we move on to the next slide, here we'll talk about if your objective is driving sales offline. And this is a huge thing in at least the markets that I work with Australia and New Zealand, where more than 90% of sales are still happening offline. So 90% of people still going out to stores wherever they can, wherever the stores are open. And although e-commerce is booming, although people are buying more online, but we definitely see that at least in markets like this, offline is a big component. And what we noticed around the month of March, where there was a lot of panic buying happening around the world, is essentially people need inventory information before they want to buy something. So for example, if I'm looking for a coffee mug, and if I know my local store has a coffee mug, if I can get that information without even going to the store, that's essentially a great feature for your consumer. So local inventory ads exactly do that. Local inventory ads help showcase your inventory, your price information at a local or a store level, depending on where the user is. So for example, if I am near store A, I will likely see the inventory and the product information from store A featured in my shopping ads. But if I'm away from all the stores, most likely I will see an online shopping ad, which will take me to the website. So again, if you are in one of those markets where offline sales are big and you want to showcase your local inventory, you want to showcase your inventory at the store level, please make sure that you are onboarded on local inventory ads. If we move on to the next slide, we can again see that a lot of these changes are coming this year, obviously because of the world changing. But what we realize is, again, click and collect is becoming a huge thing. With click and collect, users expect to buy something online and then be able to collect that product or the set of products from that store. So again, in the world of shopping, we've started offering these two new features called Pick Up Today and Pick Up Later. So if you have products that can be clicked and collected today, you can show this annotation on your shopping ad. And if you have products which are not in stock, which are likely to come in stock later, you can use the Pick Up Later annotation. So again, giving users a bunch of different information within your shopping ad interface, and not only driving online sales, but also giving them local information, also catering to click and collect. And if we move on to the next slide, so the last piece on driving sales offline is just again using smart shopping campaigns to not only drive online sales, but also to drive store visits or footfalls. So smart shopping campaigns can do that. There is this option available for everyone, where if store visits are available in your market, where you can tell the campaign that I want online sales at a return on ad spend target of this, but I also want so and so many store visits or increase my store visit rate. And smart shopping campaigns will essentially go and cater to both online and offline sales, just the same campaign. So if we move on to the next slide. And I think one more thing which again came out this year was this curbside pickup annotation, which essentially helps the consumer to know that the click and collect is available at a certain store, but also with a curbside or a drive-through pickup. So this is where users don't even have to get off their car. You can buy something online. You've already made the purchase. You go to the store. You don't get out of your car. The stuff comes to you and then you leave. And this is essentially just catering to the world right now with a lot of social distancing. A curbside pickup option is again something that you can highlight with your shopping ads. And all these features are relatively easy to activate. So again, work with your agency, work with your partners, and just kind of showcase all the different features your business has to offer. If we move on to the next slide. And here are some tips. So I always, whenever I'm speaking at a public forum like this, I always like to mention some holiday tips around our policy teams, because our policy teams become super active around the whole Q4 season. They like to have a very strict check on the product, on the offers that you're sending. So here is just a checklist, a proactive and a reactive checklist of things that you can have a look at. I won't go through the checklist, but you can just easily refer to this in case you have any policy troubles, accounts getting suspended, products getting disapproved, and so on. And if we move on to the next slide. So we spoke a lot about automation and how automation is important. Jackie did, I guess, a very good job explaining how your foundations such as feeds and things are important, but then really leveraging automation or smart bidding. But we do understand that there are certain sales period, there are certain times where you want to kind of override this automation or smart bidding. So we have introduced a new feature called seasonality adjustments, where you will now be able to tell a shopping campaign that, hey, shopping campaign, run with this smart bidding strategy. But during these 3 days, I expect more sales to happen because I have a sale coming or it's Cyber Weekend. And you can just add that multiplier, which can be used by your smart bidding strategy as an extra signal. Right? So just giving you that extra option to play around with your smart bidding strategies. And if we move on to the next slide, just today, we've launched this new feature across the entire Asia Pacific region, and I think even the European region, is the shopping property tab is moving away from purely ads to an ads plus organic or free shopping listings model. So what this means is your existing shopping products and feeds are already auto opted into this feature. And now you're getting an organic side of things from shopping. So you will essentially be able to show free listings of your products. Again, everything works exactly similar to how a shopping auction works, except there is no bids in this case. So this will purely be dependent on how good your feed quality or feed quality score is. And you can see that we are trying to open up new surfaces or new places where you can also show shopping ads organically. And if we move on to the next slide, there is also a report available for you within Merchant Center, which will tell you how many free clicks or how many unpaid listing organic clicks that you're getting from shopping. So again, a good feature for you to get those extra impressions and clicks at no extra costs. And if we move on to the next slide, this is my final slide here. So just a final tip before I leave. Make sure that you're not only looking at online sales. Online sales definitely very, very important, but also have a look at offline sales and just really have a robust omni-channel approach would be the main advice that I would have. And also it's Friday, so do get an ice cream if you can. Thank you so much and happy holidays. And just pass it back to Edison.
Thank you, Sumit. So I'm really sure that each of us today have learned a lot of tips in terms of how we can use the shopping ad, listen to the trend, listen to the signal, and now you can become a shopping campaign experts. The most importantly, the two things you need to remember, as in like how to read your audience signal, as in like what people are searching for, what people are buying for, and then we help you to detect where other demands is. Google Shopping ad will become a free listing in the already be free listed in some of the country. You complete free listing in the rest of the world by end of this year. So you can put your ad there free. But the thing is to make sure that your ad being viable, visible to all your audience. Then your feed quality is critical to them. We are here to help you to make sure that your feed you land your future to make sure that all your paid effort, even your organic effort, will land all conversion on your website. So let's go through some of the questions that we have on the floor. So the first question we have, as in like how we can prevent non-brand generic search queries from triggering the shopping ads. So basically how shopping ads work, as in like, as I mentioned just now, feed quality is very important. So once you get your feed naming convention from the IT team, so you need to ask your agency, ask your partner, make sure that those feed naming will be worked out accordingly to the Google GMC standard, also to what the consumer are searching for. Because from the Google point of view, when you search your keywords, then your feed actually kind of like will make sure what are the product listing will appear to your consumer. If you don't want some of the brand or generic keywords being searchable and have your product listing being listed on the result, what you can do is work out a negative list. So that negative list, you have to make sure that you have one list for your standard PPC campaign and your shopping campaign. Then you have a better control in terms of what are the words will be exposed to your desired results. Then we had a second question, as in like, what is the recommended numbers of conversion or revenue needed before we can change it to a smart bidding strategy, such as target CPA or target ROAS? We recommend to you, as in like, you always start your campaign with the maximum conversion. Why would recommend you to do that? Because you need to get the machine learning to pick up what are the right signals that people can really shop your campaigns. So if you start with target CPA or target ROAS, basically you kind of like have a mindset. Who are the people who buy you? What are the keywords? What are the feed that you name? Let's say red color, people will buy more. In fact, there are people like red color, yellow color, or even myself, I will try to buy different things at different moment. So the machine learning actually plays very important methods to understand what are the people are buying from different signals. So with the machine learning, also with the expertise from your business partner, then we'll be able to recommend to you what is your next strategy when you have accumulated a certain number of conversion. So if you wanted us to tell you what is the number of conversion, we have silly to tell you 50, but we advise to you to make sure the machine learning already maximize your conversion, to learn the pattern before you move into your next smart bidding strategies. Then we have another question, as in like how we can prioritize shopping campaign to appear in the search result instead of expanded text ad. So if I read your question correctly, basically you want to make sure that all your ad actually will, when people search, let's say skincare moisturizer. So you want your ad to appear on your search result rather than a shopping ad or vice versa. So as I explained just now, in order to better control your exposure in terms of what your listing will be shown in the result by the consumer, your negative list actually is very important. So in here, it's very hard for us to answer to you in the question as a like, because we can, as I said, we cannot determine as in like, I want my ad to appear in the search result for this category and another set of keywords on the shopping ad, because somehow everyone will search things differently. So we need to understand what is their demand. So you need to work with your agency or your partner to understand what are the demands that will come up with a strategy for you accordingly. Then we also had another question from Lisa. Is this information only for Australia? 73% of the customers shop both online and in-store role. Is it also in Hong Kong? So I believe this is the question when Sumit shared some of the section on the Omnichannel. Sumit, can you help to answer this question for Lisa?
Yes. Hi, Lisa. So these are most of the stats that I shared are average numbers across a bunch of different markets. But I'm sure there is a way we can find out specific market numbers if you can speak to someone that you know at Google. I'm sure there are some research studies on that, but these numbers were average across a bunch of different markets.
Thank you, Sumit. So I think we have all the questions being answered. So I'm really appreciate for your today's time because it's Happy Friday. So if you have any question, Jackie, move to the last slide. If you have any question, feel free to text email to me, myself, Edison, Jackie, or even Sumit. If you have any question about the shopping app. Today, what we want to share with you as in like, what is the right framework for you to read the signal and detect the demand from our audience. Come back to us if you have all the technical question in terms of how to activate your Google Shopping app, what is the right way I need to structure my whole campaign, or what is the prerequisite step I need to do to make sure that my infrastructure will able to optimize my shopping campaign. You can drop all the questions in the QR code I listed down here. Scan the QR code, give us some of the comments you have, then we come back to you with some of our thinking. Thank you for your time.